Okay, recap for Thursday, the 16th of April, 2026. Okay, so in Wednesday's recap, I basically done it late and I said what I expect in the morning session. Let's drop down to the lower time frame. So I said it's a bit of a 50-50 that we could go down, but I'm more bullish, right? I do expect us to at least hit this high and bare minimum hit London high, right? So what I have highlighted coming into the morning session is we were respecting some bearish structure, right? We were respecting this bearish 15-minute, but I did expect this to go to the final one up here. And if we can get above it, then we're not looking for us to go any lower. But if we do go lower, well, of course, there's a lot of CVs below 4 hour, 1 hour, whatever, right? And I have this obvious one highlighted. Okay, so that was just me coming into the market. That's what I'm expecting. So 9:30 opens up and we have this, I mean, decent opening range gap. Is pretty small compared to the other days, so I did expect us to at least hit midpoint at that, and that will be right here, which was lining up with our initial sell side. So we do all of that basically in 1 minute. This is our opening candle. We go up into that CB. We don't get on top of it. We bodies close below midpoint, and then we sharply dump lower, right? And then we take this initial sell side. So that already was like, okay, what can we do now, right? Because at this time, ES hasn't done that. ES was actually, let me see, ES was still up here. So ES could come lower, and that was fine. So I was like, okay, we might want to go lower today, right? Lower today, don't know where to because we have all of this, but we would want to go lower or go higher, right? Like that, I could take both trades, whatever the one that makes sense. So I'm watching this Sibi, right? Particularly the midpoint of it, and I had a limit order on the midpoint right there, but this failed to get into it. For me to have like a conservative short, and then we started doing all this slop, so I was just waiting basically for it, and then once we leave here we make this gap that was too big. I had a limit order just to get into it, didn't, and it ran all the way down. So after it ran all the way down, we're back at this 50-50 position, right? I have this kind of highlighted as first presented. And I'm there like, okay, we could go higher or we could go lower, take this low one more time, right? I'm watching ES as it does that, right? You can see ES takes this low out right here, and that was my trade basically. So I was like, you know what, we might go higher, but I'm convinced one of the assets will at least take this low or this low, right? So they came to my idea to a short. I was waiting. We go above the first presented. So right now I'm not really using it as first presented. I don't really care no more because it's not like acting like a first presented. So I'm thinking this 931 would be the first presented for the day, and I'm just leaving it, right? I'm just looking at this structure. We go back all the way to the midpoint of our opening range gap. We come back to this inversion now, and we're respecting the midpoint of it. This mini CB, I mean busy, right? I take the short. Once we go down here, take my short right there. Stop loss at midpoint of that. Wick, and it goes down, then starts stalling right here. The second starts stalling, watch this candle, 1020. And if we look at ES, there is 1020, right? We're just about to take the low. but it looks to me like ES was more bearish, and we might just use the SMT to go higher now. I'm like, alright, cool. I don't want to be in this trade any longer. So the second this candle starts moving up, I close the trade. So it's just a small, very small trade. Honestly, it's like 37 points, so something like that. And I close it because I knew we're not gonna go any lower, more likely, and I'm not in it to just get cooked. And then you can see this candle just does that, so that would have stopped me out in a loss. So got that, closed it here, and then we come back again and then start the move higher, and I probably would have got wicked out. So I'm just glad that I wasn't in it, and it was kind of a garbage day, really. Right, we did eventually hit the targets later by lunch, but there was too many wicks on MNQ compared to NQ, which didn't have any of them wicks. Right, if we're looking, none of these crazy wicks are on NQ. So I just didn't like what I was seeing, and basically decided to just take the small profit and skip the day, right? No loss. So basically reclaimed yesterday's loss. And that's it really. It's just I don't like the fact that I'm seeing the moves, I just can't participate because it's just straight garbage. And yeah, this is it. We go to the high basically perfectly, and then we come down. So we do basically exactly target. So now, just looking at the daily, what do I expect for Friday? Well, since Monday, well, since the last Monday, like 2 weeks ago Monday, we just had up close candles. This is Friday, and I expect a TGIF, right, where we actually might pull back down. Right, we're already at all-time high for this, and now we have this high to look into. If we're gonna get to it today, if we're gonna continue the trend, there is a lot. There is almost 300 handles to get there. It's not necessary for it to get there, but what we could do is a sweep, right? So a sweep on this, and I would also put event horizon. Right, so we could do a sweep on this high, and if we will have any scenario of any TGIF, because that day is the only day that I would expect shorts to play out. Let's just say we get our high somewhere here. If we put 20% would be there. I wouldn't even go for like 30% TGF. I'm just 20, right? And that will be there, which would line up with what I would expect taking this low out, and that would be kind of a market structure shift, which means we could either, if we're gonna do it and looks like we're running up for it, we would take previous daily high and then previous daily low out, and that will complete like some sort of TGIF. If not, and we want to push higher for these points, then it can do it. I don't care. It will all be obvious on the opening range and how we treat the opening range gap. So today again is another 50-50. It's just discussing market. But my overall thought really, if you're just looking at this, if we're looking at the 4 hour, right? I expected a bullish here, but the fact that yes, this is an area that I expected us to come down, back down to. However, if I was bullish, I wanted more in terms of there to like here, and that would have been basically guaranteed that this whole year is going to be bullish. Now the fact that we went to the first obvious one and then did all of that begs the question, are we manipulating? Think about it. are we manipulating? Is all of this run basically fake for us to manipulate and go against everybody that was showing? And then later on, we actually have a bearish year where we actually start heading down lower. That's my question. So on ES, all I'm saying is very possible because this is a very, very unnatural pump, right? I mean, if I'm just looking at any year, go to the NQ for a cleaner chart. If I'm looking at any year, we don't pump like this, right? This we pumped hard, but like this little pullback down or something at least to slow down or whatever before taking out the highs is normally what we expect, right? Here, even if we're gonna pull back hard, we don't go all the way straight and complete the market maker buy or sell model instantly. So that's what's leading me to think this might be some sort of manipulation, right? Like if we're gonna go higher, I would expect something like this rather than what we're getting. So I'm not sure if we take the high now, if we take all-time high, is this just gonna be taking all-time high and then continuing higher to here, which is, well, no, not that. Okay, there's other target price as well. Never mind this one. Um, is that it? I don't know. This seems too good to be true, right? When it seems too good to be true, just know there's questions, right? YM hasn't gone to the high, and YM still got lows to go to if he wants to. So we might have a bearish year, and this might be our manipulation. Possibly, right? It's too fast. Manipulation is always too fast, and then distribution is longer, right? Think about this as like the accumulation, manipulation, distribution of this phase, right? Of like quarter one. But if we're just looking at yearly, right? It's just let me double check with years. This could be just our accumulation. And then this might be our manipulation. And then for the rest of the year, we might distribute lower. Maybe. I don't know. Time will tell. Anyway, for today, let's just focus on actuals today. Like I said, we're looking for all-time highs, and if we're gonna have a bearish day, it's gonna be obvious from our opening range gap. So just be careful. It's a 50-50. It's just garbage markets to trade. So good luck. That's all I can say. Anyway, that's the market recap. Peace out.